Welcome, beautiful souls. So today I'm super excited. I have Ash here today. Hi, Ash.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Ooh, thank you so much for coming. So Ash is, wow, we were just talking about it actually, a transformational guide, but so much more. So she helps souls reclaim their brilliance and rewrite their story from the inside out. Ooh, that's what we need right now. So Ash has been doing this for at least a decade. I feel like your whole life. The guy, yeah, I've got it written down a decade, and the guides are like, no.
Yeah.
She's done it throughout her lifetime. And you've brought it through other businesses as well. So you've had experience of guiding, it's profound personal metamorphosis. So you're the visionary behind Renew Retreats. And do you know, this has been my thing. My dream is to do retreats around the world, and this is what you've been doing. I love this. You've been
Yeah.
holding retreats. I just want to come to retreats.
Yeah.
And you have my new chapter journal, so sacred spaces where reinvention begins and deep self trust blooms. Love it. So your signature work blends the science of nervous system regulation with the power of subconscious rewiring, intuitive embodiment, and grounded s- spiritual. I feel like you're so much even more than this. It's very like the guides are showing me what you've been doing. And we were just saying it's so hard to put it into words. And you were
Yeah.
saying, you never used to like labels, and that was me. I was like, oh, I don't want to have a label. I don't want to be stuck in a box. But then I love the words like star seeds and light workers, and like it was kind of contradictory with me, but I really loved that you were saying that. So we can get to that soon. But you've been doing transformational retreats with
Mhm.
your signature course, Owning It. And then yeah, soulful guidance to create lasting change. It's what we need because we're always doing like a little bit here, a little bit here, and then we default back to the old. So la lasting
Mhm.
change sounds awesome. So your mission is simple and powerful. So you're helping souls, souls and women especially, and this is like men, if we've got men watching, this is going to help you too. This is, if women get the help they need, and then the men get the help they need, and then we can come together and create, the yin, the yang, the kind of blending together where everything just works so much more smoothly. So you've said to about feeling safe, helping people to feel safe, clear their minds, and fully align with who they were born to be. So yes, I love that. I love that. So, Ash, where to start with you? I mean, you're so fascinating. I love it. There's so much to talk about, but I suppose it's like, were you always like, is this something your family taught you, or were you always kind of in tune or intuitive or into this kind of vibe, or has it just evolved?
First of all, thank you for such a warm introduction. You're so lovely. Your enthusiasm just oozes out of you, and I really appreciate that. Um, to answer your question, have I always been this way? I mean, certainly I've evolved like all of us, but I have always been very intuitive. And thankfully, that was always a conversation in my household. My mom, is very Italian. And where I grew up, which is Connecticut in the United States, is a very like formal state where it's very much like people kind of go by the book, or at least it was when I was growing up there. So it was like, people are very focused on what your parents do, and you followed, you went to a good school, you went to college, you did like, the cookie cutter thing. And I was lucky enough to grow up in a household that was more of I guess you could almost say like bohemian in a sense of our parents just wanted each of us to follow what our souls were called to do and what we were passionate about. And my mom was always, always saying to me, like, trust your intuition above everything else, like above any logic, above any teaching, above any authority. And now looking back, I see how unique and rare that was. And I've also always been very interested in souls, like people's souls. Like even when I would party back in the day when I was young and I would be drinking, I always wanted to get into like deep conversations with people's souls. And I was just talking about this with my best friend. I'm like, I really kind of have always been this way. Like, I'm not into very surface level stuff. Like, I mean, I love levity and having fun. Humor is a huge part of my life, but I want to know like the essence of somebody. I'm not very interested in, you know, the surface level things that our society can get caught up in. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I always say that the default system is to talk about the weather, like it's a default within humans. We're like,
Right.
so but now
Right.
I think we're definitely getting deeper now. So that's amazing. I love how your parents said to trust your intuition. I mean, wow, imagine if all parents said that.
Mhm.
That would be amazing. But now, you're kind of sharing that with the world as well, which is great. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I love that you did mention as well, you've mentioned the nervous system
Mhm.
reset, and there's just obviously so much going on, like in
Mhm.
the world. Like, wow.
Yeah.
I was just saying to you beforehand, it's like we've leveled up in the game. When you level up in a game, it gets more challenging. Like there's so much more comes in. It gets
Mhm.
faster. And I
Mhm.
don't want to say harder because it doesn't need to, because if you get in the flow state, it doesn't need to be harder. But it's just we have leveled up because we are strong, amazing, powerful souls. But when there is so much coming in, I feel like the nervous system is in that, the fight, flight, freeze mode. And how do we, kind of get out of that? So it's really
Yeah.
nice to see that you're doing this, so many different modalities and things that can really help. But
Mhm.
nervous system for me is just coming up nonstop from my guides, nervous system recalibration. So
Yeah.
is that something you do a lot? I know you're evolving from that as well, but
Mhm. Yeah, no, I mean, I work deeply with that with people one-on-one or on my retreats or, I'm doing a live event tomorrow. Um, I would say the nervous system is probably one of, if not the biggest thing that I'm helping people with because so I just want to share with everybody in the audience. So your nervous system is actually governed by your subconscious, which isn't talked about, in my opinion, enough. But I'm excited that it's starting to be talked about because that really helps people understand. Because a lot of the things people are doing for the nervous system now are helpful. It's just that they're a little bit of like the band-aid effect. And so I like to go from what you guys have probably already gathered, like I want to go directly to the source. Like I want to go deep. I want to get to the source of what's going on and help people transform whatever that is. And so what I discovered in my studies is that the subconscious is governing the nervous system, which means that programming that was instilled in you from the ages of 0 to 12, predominantly 0 to 7, is all stored in your subconscious, which is 95 to 98% of your daily thoughts, your habits, your perceptions of life. It pretty much actually makes up your personality. And so that program is then informing your nervous system, which starts at the top of your head and then sends signals all throughout your entire body, what is or isn't safe all day long. And your amazing nervous system is just doing its job to keep you aligned with the program. And so it loves you so much that it just wants to keep you safe all day long. So anytime you're deviating outside of that program, it's going to send alerts, which feel scary to your body, which is like fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, the four different nervous system dysregulated states. And so that's your body's way of trying to bring you back into the program, right? Which is whatever was stored there. And so when you go, what I work with my clients with is I go directly to the source and I discover what subconscious beliefs are either aligned with what you want to be experiencing in life or misaligned, because over 70% of that programming is fear based. That's why we have a negativity bias as human beings. And so when you go directly to that source and you change those beliefs, it creates new nervous system set points. And then you naturally start to be in what you mentioned earlier, like that flow state. You can trust your intuition more, you can hear it more because the fear-based programming isn't overriding it. Because it's not that our intuition speaking to us all day long about literally any decision we need to make, as I'm sure you know. But what makes it hard to hear that is the nervous system freaking out and just trying to keep us in safety. So I work with a lot of people one-on-one in helping them reprogram that. But then I also give lots of different tools that you can do to regulate your nervous system, because especially with the state of the world right now, the greatest thing we can all be doing is taking care of our nervous system and not reacting from fear, but really making choices from that grounded space. So I feel really passionate about it.
Oh, yes, I love that. Honestly, that is yeah, I mean if we were all doing that, because I think I've heard you say about um, like we can do therapy, which
Yeah.
you said, that's great. But I think we're finally trying to go to the deeper level because even still some forms of therapy are a band-aid, So I mean, I always got taught like you could collapse kind of quantumly collapse
Mhm.
timelines by going to the deeper root
Mhm.
cause rather than going to every single timeline of when it happened. Something happened last year, so something happened 5 years ago, something happened, 7 years ago. So it's so much slower if you don't go to that deeper level. So yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's such good stuff. So you talk about
Can I
human
speak to that
design.
real quick?
Yeah,
Okay. I want, because I think this is something really important for people to know. Therapy is so helpful. I
yeah.
love therapy. I was in it for the longest time. Um, and most therapies, I would say almost all of them, the reason why people are getting frustrated with it, and again, this is not to speak poorly of therapy, it's just to have an understanding of which part of your consciousness it's speaking to. It's speaking to 5% of your consciousness. So it's speaking to your conscious mind, which is great because your conscious mind is the part of you that can dream up what you want. It's the creative part of your consciousness. It's the part that can be like, oh my God, I want to change my health habits. I want to change my money habits. It would be so great to function like this or have this relationship. And you can dream and dream and dream. It's just that it's not the part of your consciousness that stores the program that's creating those repetitive patterns, those self-sabotaging things, the negative self-talk. And so that's why so many people are feeling frustrated, because you're kind of spinning in circles, talking about the same thing over and over again. When the modality that I'm trained in, which is called Psych K, you use the body to discover, because the body is the subconscious, to discover what the body does or doesn't believe, the subconscious does or doesn't believe, and what trauma loops are open or closed. And so you just go directly to that and then you change it. And it doesn't have to be talking in circles for years on end. It's just like change your consciousness. And as we all know, like when you change your consciousness, your entire life changes. So your habits start to change. Like it all happens in a much easier way. And it's not talking in circles with hopes of making changes. So I feel like that's really important for people to understand because, as you said, like there's got to be a way where you're not having to go through each level and it taking so long. And when you close trauma loops, that's so freaking powerful because You don't have to know every belief that was tied to that trauma. You don't have to revisit it for hours on end. You close the loop and it creates a new nervous system set point. So when you do that, you can revisit the memory of that experience. You can even be around the person or in the environment. And because your nervous system has now closed the loop, you no longer feel activated because closing it closes the stress, meaning it reduces all the stress in your mind and body. And as a result, you now have a new perception of that experience, and it takes it from being stressful to creating wisdom in your consciousness. So now it's like you got the wisdom from it, and you don't have to carry the stress, and then you can go about like living your life and it not completely weighing you down and, very much informing your perceptions.
Love it. Yes, I love how you describe that. So is that the Psych K?
Yeah.
Um, because you talk about human design and Psych K. So
Yeah.
what's the difference there? Is that the same thing?
No, I love them so much. Okay. So Psych-K is the modality that I'm trained in. So there's like two handfuls of modalities that actually can work with the subconscious and help you rewire it. There's like NLP, there's EMDR, there's hypnosis. The one that I'm trained in is called Psych-K, and that was essentially downloaded from this guy who was a psychotherapist for over 20 years. And like me, he was getting frustrated with the traditional form of therapy and wanting to help his clients get like faster results. He was like, come on, there's got to be a way of them not taking 10 years to get the breakthrough. And this process channeled through him and he wrote it all out. He saw it like on a computer screen. So with your channeling abilities, you can understand that. Like he could just see it. And so he's just typing, typing, typing. And he started experimenting with his friends and family and noticed that they were getting results from it. And then what they did was he wanted science to back it. So they did EEG brain map testing to understand what was happening when you were doing the Psych-K process. And that's when they were able to discover that you're creating new neural pathways, new synaptic connections, new nervous system set points through this process, so what it is it's a specific form of muscle testing that you have to do with a facilitator. And again, you use the body to discover what the subconscious does or doesn't believe. And then within the matter of minutes, through other forms of muscle testing and whole brain posture, you can rewire the subconscious and close trauma loops. So that's what Psyche is. And separately is human design, which I love so, so much. Do you know anything about human design at all?
I know a little bit, but I don't feel like I know enough. I need to know more. I love this. Yeah.
Okay. So human design was also channeled by a guy named Ra Aharu. And back in 1980, I forget what the year was, but essentially it channeled through him and he wrote out the entire process. And it is a combination of the I Ching, astrology, all these different modalities combined together. And what you do is you discover what your human design chart is. And what you need for that is your birth date, the time of day that you were born, where you were born, and it creates this whole chart, which is your energetic blueprint. And because I don't like labels like you, I was so resistant to human design. I was like, no, like astrology is enough. I don't need to know another thing. I don't want a label. And then I was so skeptical when I did start learning about it, but it is the most accurate thing that I've ever encountered. It is so much more detailed than astrology. And what it does is it shows your energetic blueprint, how you're designed, the mechanics of how you're designed, and it goes into great detail about your energy type, how your intuition speaks to you, your best way of digesting food and information, your best strategy to create success. And I've found that as people really understand their chart, it is like, I always say it's just dulling out permission slips. It's like one permission slip after another to just be who you naturally are. And then it highlights all the conditioning that's keeping you from living in alignment with being that person. And so for me in my work and the owning it method that I've created, it's a combination of these modalities mixed with a ton of spirituality and intuitive work Because what I find is like when people understand this about themselves, it helps them soften and relax into who they are. And then we use the psyche to rewire the programming that's keeping them from living out of alignment.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love it so much. So this is what you do. So you do kind of one-on-one
Mhm.
sessions. So would you start off doing the human design, or do you kind of like, you put a bit of Psych K, or do you need to do a few sessions? Um,
So most of my clients work with me for like 6 months to a
yeah.
year is the typical amount because they're looking for, usually people come to me going through big life transitions, like either big career changes or divorce or, just feeling like they're at a crossroads in life. Um, but I also do family human design charts, which I love doing because as much as I was just talking to a friend about this, as much as human design is so great because you get to understand yourself more, what I love about it is that it really, I think, opens the aperture of our mind in such a big way to understand that we all are very unique in our design. And in doing that and in understanding that, I think it opens curiosity and compassion to really look at your family members and understand that you're designed differently and there's a different and in not just understanding it, but like respecting the way each person needs to show up for their energy, it helps create a ton more harmony and flow in the family life. And I just love helping people create that any way that I can. And so I create human design family charts, and that's so fun.
That's
Yeah.
amazing because I do find I heard someone say once that it's best not to judge your family. Because if they do things that are different than how you do it, then sometimes you'll judge them and get really frustrated. But I suppose if you start to really understand them, then you start to see, why they're doing that and why you're doing it. And then just appreciate each other's differences. And then I suppose that kind of flows through into, the community and to your daily life and then the rest of the world. So, yeah.
Yeah, completely. And you have children, right? Yes.
Yeah, I've got boys. Yeah.
Boys. Okay. Yeah. And so I have a daughter, and for instance, she in human design, she's a manifester and I'm a generator. And so those are two very, very different energy types. So as a generator, I'm here to do just what it sounds like, to just generate energy, doing what I love. Over 70% of the population is generators. Oh, no, that's not true. 30% are generators, 35% are manifesting generators. Um, and so like the more that I do that, the more I produce this like juicy, sparkly energy and I can just go, 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 go. And people want to be around generators who are doing what they love because of the energy they generate from doing that, right? But they have this motor where they can go, go, go. So I'm kind of like the Energizer Bunny, and I've had to learn how to slow down over the past couple of years. Whereas my daughter doesn't have that according to her design. And it's so true. It has been a game changer for me in parenting because manifestors are in a rest cycle for up to 80% of their life. So they need so much rest. And as a child, I was like always going and doing a million sports and everything. Whereas my daughter, she sits on our couch and calls it Couchlandia, and she just wants to go into her own universe and just chill. And I'm like, what? Like, I thought something was wrong at first. Like, I was like, why do you like to relax so much? Are you okay? But no, it's her listening to her body. And so that's what I love about human design is it as much as you're in your mind understanding it, it's all about getting back into your body, which we both know like that's where your true wisdom lies. That's where your intuition is always speaking to you. And we need to spend, especially now more than ever, like way more time out of our minds and into our bodies. And that's all the work that I'm doing is really about helping people drop into their bodies more. So it's just a great modality to help people do that.
Oh, yes, please. I need to get in my body for sure. That's so cute, your daughter. Because I get confused on what I am because I need a lot of time out. I can't keep going, but at the same time, now I feel like I'm becoming more multi-dimensional, which can be
Mm,
classed as ADD, ADHD. It's kind of that cross. I don't know, is that a cross between a manifesting generator or
yeah.
but it's,
So a
yeah.
lot of manifesting generators think they have ADD,
Mm.
but really they're meant to bounce around and do lots of different things and not necessarily finish tasks, which in our society is, of course, not like, it's frowned upon, but it's actually them staying in their energy and living in their design. So they're meant to like, looking at my kitchen, like start opening the dishwasher and then halfway through they're going to go like jump over to the laundry and then they'll probably start cooking something and they'll come back to the dishwasher. And some people would be like, why the hell can't you just start it and finish it, which is what a generator would do. But they're meant to bounce around. So manifesting generators are like, we learn from them bouncing around to all their different interests. And because they have that manifestor quality to them, they can learn something really fast. They can really understand it deeply and then master it. And then they're going to jump to the next thing. And we need them doing that because if they weren't doing that, then it would drain their energy. So that's what's cool about human design is it really helps you understand like how you best function in the world because we live in a world that operates as though everybody's a generator, which couldn't be further from the truth. And so people who are not generators trying to keep up with that energy, they're just draining their life force and living out of alignment. And so I feel like this is a really great map as to how to help people do that.
Mm, yeah, yeah, it really describes me. So
I know. Now
is
I want to know your
that
chart.
yeah, I love that. No, 'cause you do sometimes you do feel a bit like already I don't feel normal because
Mhm.
I'm channeling, I'm doing all this weird woo-woo stuff. And then I'm off like, like you said, I'm emptying the dishwasher, but at the same time I'm over here and I'm there and I'm like, what am I doing? I'm not focused. Am I procrastinating? Am I losing the plot? So it's really nice to have people like you explaining what is going on. But is there just kind of two? Is it just manifester and generator? Are there any more? Or those are the
More.
two main ones? Yeah.
Yeah, so there's generators, there's manifesting generators, there's
Yeah.
projectors, there's reflectors, and wait, is that it? Generators, manifesting generators, reflectors, projectors, and then manifestors. And so manifestors are these like strong, wild, very capable beings, and they're the initiators. They're here to like disrupt and create change in our lives. And they have like a very strong presence. So people are either very drawn to them or not drawn to them. But it's like they're just big. You know what I mean? It's like they just have this powerful energy. So a great example of manifestors. Let me think of two that people might know. Adele is a manifester. Jennifer Lawrence is a manifester. So it's like people who just have, you can just tell that they are uniquely themselves, right? But they're going to come, they're going to create something really powerful. It's going to be disruptive. It's going to make us think differently. It's going to inspire us. And then they need to retreat and take, if they're living in alignment, and take a lot of downtime because all that downtime is helping them collect the energy they need in order to then initiate some big thing, that whatever it may be. Then there's projectors, and projectors are the seers of our world. And so they are not here to initiate. They're here to be the seers. They're really like the intuitive guides of our world. And so they have this unique ability to see things at like an eagle's eye view. And because they have a lot of what's called open energy centers, they also need a lot of downtime because they can quickly chameleonize themselves to the people that they're around because they have so much open energy. And so, in order to come back to themselves and to be able to really have that clear sight that we need them to have and that we come to them for, they need to like actually be away from humans and just have time to themselves. But like directors, people who are like consultants, people who can like see things and how they can work most efficiently, that's what a projector is. And we like actually pay them or go to them because of the way they see things, not so much of how hard they work. But projectors often think they have to keep up with like the work cycle that our culture has been conditioning them to believe they have to. And then reflectors are so interesting. They're the most rare, and they are exactly what it sounds like. They are reflecting back to you exactly who you are. So when you're around a reflector, you're going to see everything about yourself. And that's their gift, is like that they have this very chameleonizing energy, but that they're here to just really reflect to the world how we can be our best. And it's just by being around them. So they have a very unique energy. I could go on, but those are the energy types.
That honestly, yeah, so interesting. I love it because I remember years ago we'd do kind of a few things at school to kind of figure out, our personality and things like this. But yeah, that is just, yeah, it's more us, it's more evolved now for sure.
Yeah.
I love
Uh-huh.
that. And then the Psych K. So
Hmm.
when did you kind of, has it been a while since you kind of, I don't know, do you say you study Psych K? I don't know. How does that work?
I You do certifications,
Right.
so I did trainings for it. Yeah, I would say, how long has it been? It's been 6 years since I did the first training. And then I did the second one a couple years after that. There's one training left that I could do. But I've kind of created like my own thing with all of it because it's a blend of those modalities and like a lot of meditations. I do a lot of guided meditations for my clients, and the retreats that I've done. And then the journal that I have, I used to have my new chapter. I created a new journal called Owning It. And the Owning It journal is really about helping you listen to your soul first thing in the morning, every morning. And it comes with a guided meditation. And then it's 4 questions to answer every day to check in with your soul and what you're being called to create each day, what you're being called to let go of, what your intuition is telling you, and what you're grateful for. And I find it to be like such a beautiful ritual because I've led over 60 retreats over the past 5 years, and these are all the questions that I always end up asking everybody. And I was like, I just need to put it in a tangible thing that people can do on their own, you know? And so the owning it method really is a combination of all of those things and a lot of conversation about intuition. Because truly, the only reason why I'm helping people elevate their consciousness is because our consciousness is what's informing our actions, right? But it's when you remove the barrier of the fear-based consciousness, then you can hear those downloads. You can hear your intuition so much more clearly. And that's what I really want to help as many people as I can listen to and trust because that's our divine guidance, you know?
Mm, that really resonated. I saw that like the flow state of what that creates is that flow state throughout each person. And then
Mhm.
I just saw the whole world. It was just like all these beautiful swirls of energy throughout the whole world. And then everybody was focused on their passions, their gifts, their
Mhm.
interests, their what makes them come alive. And there was, there's no fear in that. And there's no war in that because
Right.
everybody's living their own dreams. Oh, yeah, yeah, that's beautiful. So you do, oh, so sorry, that journal, I'll link that as well so that people can, and I'll link
Yeah.
all your website and Instagram and everything, but the journal is digital and print. So
Yeah.
yeah, that sounds amazing because sometimes you kind of just need that little bit extra guidance
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, of course.
For sure. So the retreats is what I'm interested in as well. So you do these for different like for clients and for Do you kind of do corporate? What's been happening
I've done
lately?
some, yeah, I've done some corporate. I feel really passionate about doing corporate stuff to help with corporations with their nervous system, and helping them elevate their consciousness. And I have some companies that are hiring me to actually, like smaller companies that are hiring me to come in and do the human design for their companies, which is the most helpful thing to understand in a small company because when you understand everybody's strengths and weaknesses, it just allows you to stay in your lane. And that's another thing that I love so much about human design is it really emphasizes that like we all came with these assignments, these roles that we're here to fulfill. And when you really understand yours and embrace it, then you stop taking up the lane of somebody else that you don't love doing anyway, to be honest. Like you're just doing it because you think you should do it or whatever your conditioning is. And then you get to stay in that flow state, like you were talking about, where you feel passionate and alive and you have extra energy to do your hobbies and all the things. And so yeah, I do that with some companies as well. And then the retreats, I've done so many. I do a lot of day retreats, which is really fun. And I love doing that so much for individuals, for groups. And then I've done plenty of group retreats kind of all over the country and a little bit outside of the country as well.
So
Yeah.
is it just you doing the retreats, or do you have somebody else with you? Or?
I used to have a business partner
Yeah.
where we did them together, but now it's just me. And then I am partnering with some people occasionally to do other things like, everything from somatic movement to yoga to psychics, all kinds of fun stuff. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that sounds like me for sure. I love that. Yeah, so yeah, because you were talking about some people have just outgrown themselves as well, but they don't really know where to go to next. We're in this weird stage and
Oh,
phase of where am I? What what am I
I
doing?
know. I
And
know.
I think if you can really just know who you are, clear out all of that, the old programming, then you just get those downloads like that inspired action from your true self, from your
Mhm.
higher state of consciousness, your expanded awareness. And then it's just a knowing rather than kind of like, is this, what
Yeah.
am I doing? And you can be like it can be crazy around you, but you can be in the eye of the storm where it's all calm and you just know where you're meant to go next. And obviously, we don't have to know where we're going to be next year. It's just more about getting that divine inspiration for the stepping stone. Like we're going to take this one step forward, and that's going to lead us here, and then it's going to lead us here, and we're going to just flow with it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and what helps you get into that state? Like, what helps you get into that flow state? I'm so curious.
so obviously, I'm still a work in progress. Like my podcast is crazy or awakening. For years, I did feel like I was crazy. For me, I never like to be on Earth, in this reality. I thought, oh, this is too negative. I thought, oh, people are suffering. People are being mean. Why are they being mean to each other? I just, as a child, I did not understand it. So then I would say I was staying up in my, more crown chakra, this
Mhm.
kind of higher area. And then I wasn't grounding myself. So root chakra, what was that? I don't even know. Okay. I was not grounded. And so then how do you manifest the label manifest? How do you manifest what you want? I mean, you're manifesting what you don't want every day, but how do you manifest what you do want if you're not fully present, if you're not here? So I've tried so many things. I do yoga, I walk. We've got the beaches right there. I have like spray essential oil sprays, root chakra sprays. Um,
Yeah.
but I've found the more I connect to my true essence,
Hmm.
the more that, like I said, the divine inspiration, that inspired action, the more I connect, the more I get in the flow state.
Hmm.
So I would just highly recommend to everyone just to get to know yourself, your true essence beyond the programming, beyond what you think you are or who you've been told you are. So yeah, I have crystals, I have everything just yeah, for grounding. I think crystals make me higher.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say they sometimes can. Yeah, for sure. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's beautiful. I love hearing that. Yeah. Yeah. I've really learned that like I really believe we manifest from our subconscious, not so much from like just what we want. Do you know what I mean? Like you said, like we can manifest what we don't want all the time. And that's why I like helping people change that because you start to feel and know how worthy you are of having what it is you desire. And when you do that work, you remember, I don't think it's you become, I think you remember your wholeness. And when you know you're whole, you start creating from such a different place. It's not from grasping, it's not from proving, it's not from striving. It's from that deep inner knowing, like you're talking about, you know?
Yeah, definitely. So say if a client came to you and they were feeling really
Mm.
lost, um,
Mm.
not knowing where to begin. So would you kind of you'd look at the human design and then incorporate a bit of Psych K and
Yeah.
do like a program for them?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Key programs. Because again, like I want to get to the soul. I don't want to just stay on the surface. And so we need time for that. But yes, like we do the human design chart, we do I meet with everybody weekly. So I like to keep that cadence in order to like really keep the momentum. And then, you know, they're off on their way after they do a program. Like the minimum amount I do is usually 3 months, but that's rare. It's usually 6 months to a year, and some clients a little bit longer, depending on what they're going through. And, you know, with everything going on in the world, which is so freaking crazy, um, something I want to share from like the people that I follow and really respect in human design that I've learned so much from. Jenna Zoe being one of them. She's like, in my opinion, the best person to follow. Um, is that, and also like I'm very intuitive and I guess you could say psychic as well. So like I can see where we're going and I know it feels very scary, but this is just my perspective. So take it if you like it and trash it if you don't. Um, But it's like we're experiencing, and I'd love to hear what you think about this. Like we're experiencing a divide in consciousness. And so it's kind of like the world is going through a divorce in a sense. So it's like that's how I keep saying it. It's and I'm divorced, so I know what that feels like. So it's like it's got to get worse so bad to create the end that's needed in order for the new chapter to begin. And that's essentially what we're in right now. And human design has said since 1980 that 2027 is going to be a new paradigm. And that new paradigm is very quantum based. It is all about intuition. It is all about authenticity and integrity. So for the past 260 years, we've been in the energy of the collective, which has been about building institutions, the Constitution, banks, corporations, all of that. And any of those structures that were built without integrity or authenticity will crumble. Like, and if they haven't already, then they're going to. And that's because 2027 is all about the individual. And so that's why people are craving exactly what you said, like wanting to know themselves, wanting to know like who are they really? Like all these to-do lists, all this like never-ending go, 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 go in our society. Like we're going to see a massive shift in that because people are realizing like they want to have hobbies, they want to have a life, they want to like be themselves and stop trying to fit in these boxes. And that's because 2027 is all about the individual. And so they're like, you won't be able to lie. You won't be able to, everybody's going to realize they're psychic and that they're mediums and that they're telepathic. Like everybody's metaphysical gifts are coming online. And so that's kind of why it feels like a shit show right now. Because people are going to either choose one path or the other. Like there's going to be a divide, which we're already seeing on the world stage, right? Like people who are choosing consciousness to take personal responsibility, to own their side of the street, especially the stuff that's not so pretty within themselves. And then there's the other people who are just choosing to like blame and shame and ignore their side of the street. And soon those energies won't be able to interact because they'll just be on different planes, essentially. And I don't know what the hell that's going to look like. I'm just saying that I know that that's what the teachers that I respect say. And everything that they've been saying has been coming true. So I'm like, wow, this is one hell of a time to be alive.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you've just described it how I would describe it fully. Yeah. And interesting you said about nobody's going to be able to lie. That was a big one that was coming up for me about like
Mhm.
deception, discernment, everything is coming out to be seen. It's like I said at the beginning when I was talking to you, we've leveled up in the game. There's like it's like this virtual reality that we're playing, and we brought so much high frequency in, so much light in. We really started to like boom, like our a lot of us, our consciousness just went boop, started to really open and awaken. And then all of a sudden we're like, whoa, what's happening? Where am I? And so we've done all of this, like we've worked really hard, with all this freaking healing, all of this work we have been doing to get to see our true selves. So we've kind of split open that the light is just pouring on the planet. Obviously, there's cosmic light, so much coming in. And so it's like shining a light on the dirt in the corner. There's a bit of muck happening that we didn't realize was there and was always there. But now we're kind of ready to see it. A lot of us are ready to see it. But yeah, I've been seeing the two main what people call timelines, but they're just kind of frequencies that people are playing out. So there's, some would call it the third dimension, some call it the fifth dimension, and it's almost like you're looking through a glass window now that you're kind of like, oh, I can't quite get to that craziness over there, but I can still see it. It's still playing out like a movie scene, but you're like, it's so it's so random, it's so crazy, it's so like it just doesn't even feel real because it's so like what is going on that it honestly feels like it's a scene in a movie or a story, a book. It can't even be true. It's so ridiculous what's going on.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So I'm definitely seeing yeah, like a more what people are calling an ascension process, where a lot of us, we're kind of done playing that old game now. We're bored with that game. We want to know who we truly are. We're done with the lies, the deception. So now it's all coming out to be seen, and it has to come up to be
Mm-hmm.
seen, to be cleared. But I think
Mm-hmm.
the thing I would recommend is not to judge it, um, and not to fall in that it's okay to feel angry, worried, fearful. But if we go down that rabbit hole still, then we're just repeating the same loops again. So it's about observing it with unconditional love and just look at all of the souls and know that they're just in a level of consciousness where, like they're playing a game to expand, to evolve, to create something within the universe that is not always created. When you're in the higher realms, it's more just,
Yeah.
we're manifesting what we want. We know what we want, so we manifest instantaneously. We feel good. We don't have the heavy bodies like we do in this reality. Um, but we obviously want to appreciate these bodies. But yeah, it's definitely this split that's happening. And the guides always show me, don't worry about the others that you might say are going to stay in the third dimension, or that are going to just it's going to go so crazy that they're going to like it's gonna just go totally wild. But we don't have to worry because all souls come back to their true selves. They will all find themselves. They're just still playing the game. And if the universe is a quantum continuum, you're eternal. There is no beginning, there is no end, there is no birth, there is no death. So we're just playing these crazy games because we're so powerful, we're so amazing. We've got, we have got it together, even though it doesn't feel like it at the moment.
Yeah, no, it's so true. I love hearing your perspective on that. Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, so we do not need to worry. We do not need to be fearful. But the
Yeah.
name of the game, part of it, there's a lot of different things. We're here to explore, we're here to experience, we're here to evolve, even though it looks like we're like de-evolving. It looks like we're
Yeah.
going backwards, but we're not. Because
Right.
when you have those opposites to your true self, that's when you really start to know who you are. We're really starting to shine now, and we're realizing, like, as we're peeling away these layers, we're realizing how amazing we are.
Mm,
We could have watched like a Marvel movie on superheroes or a DC, what's that, Superman. We think we're like Clark Kent, but we're actually Superman. We think we're like in the Matrix, what's Neo's name?
Keanu Reeves.
I always forget his name and
Oh,
his
I have no idea.
his normal name. Yeah. We think we're just this normal human being, but we're not. We're discovering we are Neo, but we are also the Matrix. We are part of it. We are creating it. So it's time to take responsibility for what we're putting out there. And that's why I love what you're doing, because when we're peeling away who we are not, we are just listening, releasing the load of crap from the matrix
Totally.
we're creating. Yeah.
The illusion. You know
Mm.
what? I have to grab, I'm so sorry, but I have to grab my computer's dying. I have to grab my
Oh,
charger.
it's all good. Oh, good. I can just entertain everybody. I always talk too much. That's the problem. And then, yeah, I just love talking. I love talking to like-minded people as well, for sure.
Oh, same.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, I think we are, I just don't want anyone to feel fearful unless that's the game they want to play. Like if you go back to your true self, there is no fear. There is no
Right.
fear. And my favorite thing to do is go to nothing, be nothing. And a lot of people are so scared to be nothing. And
Mm-hmm.
honestly, being nothing, then starting to put yourself back together of who do you want to be? It's time to reinvent ourselves. So,
It's so tough to reinvent ourselves, and we're getting the greatest invitation ever. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. Like everything that's happening, whether we like it or not, is happening for a reason because it's happening. Like there's kind of just at some point no denying that, in my opinion. And of course, like you, I was so sensitive as a child, extremely empathic, and I would just cry. Like my parents would take me to New York and I would cry so hard every time I saw a homeless person, which was often being in New York. And I would just look at my dad and I was like, why are you not emptying your entire wallet? Give them all the money you have. Like, look at that person, the sign. Like, I didn't understand the suffering in the world at the time. And unfortunately, over time, you get, I don't know that I ever got used to it, but now it's so heightened and we're getting inundated with so much information, which we are not designed. to be able to take in the amount of information we're getting. And I'm mentioning all of this because that is what's like, think about it, you guys. 20 years ago, even, we did not have access to information the way that we do now, which is infusing us with fear every day, all day long, if you choose to opt in and pay attention to it. And so I think now more than ever, like, of course, stay informed. Of course, speak up about things that you feel passionate about that weigh heavy on your heart. And like double down on making the most of your life. Double down on being so radically authentic and being yourself and saying screw it to anything that's not aligned with that anymore because we need as many human beings on earth doing that now more than ever. Like it is needed now more than ever. And I think it's the greatest invitation to enjoy our lives because there is so much chaos happening, you know? And the more that we do that, the more we're feeding and becoming, first and foremost, the person that we really want to be, that we're proud of being. And secondly, like that's that joy spilling over into the collective, you know, like you're saying, like there's nothing to fear if we stop feeding that energy eventually it starves. It doesn't have, you know, it's like bacteria. Like it doesn't it doesn't have anywhere to live after a while, you know? But we have to kind of fight for it right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. That bacteria, I love that. Definitely. The thing is, like, yeah, if everybody comes back into alignment, it just the whole world shifts. So we
Well,
really, we don't need to be trying to change everybody else. We just need to be figuring ourselves out, which is hard enough already. So
and even when I say fight for it, like that's not really
I
the
know what
word.
you mean.
Like,
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
yeah, it's more of like allow ourselves to relax.
Mm.
As wild as that may seem right now. Like allow ourselves to relax and have trust in ourselves and our connection to the divine, that we're always being guided, that there's a bigger that there's a bigger purpose to all of this, you know?
For
And I
sure.
think, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like when you were saying fighting for it's like you're trying to get yourself in alignment. And when you're in alignment, you can observe all of that crap that's going on with unconditional love. And because you can't stop a war being angry at a war. Like the anger that you're putting towards a war does not create peace. It's
Mhm.
the peace that creates peace.
Right.
So it's like we're so used to projecting into the outside world because that's what we were taught. Everything is on the outside world, but when what we're not realizing, well, you know, everyone here is, but others are not realizing that what they're putting out there is creating that outside world by them getting angry at the war, angry at who's in government, angry at this side, angry at that side, angry at the neighbor for chopping the trees. That's the energy that we're putting out there. But if we can just observe with non-judgment and including ourselves, because I still judge myself. I'm like, why did you say that? Or,
Yeah,
or why
of
did
course.
you, you know, what,
Yeah.
what, what were you thinking? Or, why did you wear that? But we've just got to give ourselves the love and the compassion that we deserve because we volunteered. I still believe we volunteered to come here. That means we are powerful, incredible, intelligent souls that have the strength. We have the wisdom, we have the skills to
Mhm.
be in this reality. If we can, like, we've manifested, we've created this, like, where we're living, we've created it all. So that's how powerful we are. So we just need to give ourselves some credit, some love, Um, yeah, just some good vibes.
Yeah, I think so much of it is about loving and nurturing ourselves. I mean, truly, like I just wrote about this about the nervous system. Like one of the easiest ways to regulate your nervous system is to speak lovingly and kindly to yourself. Like that loving, nurturing voice that you would give to your own children, like give that to yourself. Especially in the situations where you want to be hard on yourself or you want to judge other people. It's like inside you is a scared little kid that's just trying to get its needs met. So it's like the more that all of us are doing that inner work, that can extend outward into the world. And then we start creating the world that we want to be living in. Because just like you said, that doesn't come from more hate, more judgment, and more shame, and more, that's not the answer. It's just not. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. We were just talking about it, some friends and I was actually sending them the pictures of the water. And I always forget that the Japanese guy that does the experiments. It starts with M and ends, and his last name's with a K. I always forget
Uh-huh.
it. I need to remember it. But he does those experiments where it's like happy water, you put in love and kindness into the water, and then experiments with they're angry at the water, and the difference, like they freeze the water and it's like these beautiful kind of snowflakey looking water droplets, and then it's like this gooey, like sludgy, murky water when you're putting anger into it. And it's the same if our bodies are water. I was just telling my friends, I was like, but we're water, so we've got to be kind to ourselves.
It's so true. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have looked that up lately. I remember having to learn it for Reiki as well. There were like YouTube videos with the happy water, and it was plants as well. Schools were doing tests with plants, and they were being really kind and loving to one plant and really bullying and being horrible to another plant, and that plant started to just go brown and started to die off. And yeah, it's just crazy. Our thoughts, our energy, our words, our frequency, our vibration, it's all creating
So,
disharmony, disease. Yeah.
yes, it's all so powerful. I mean, I had an eating disorder for most of my adolescence, which I almost died from. And
An eating disorder.
yeah,
Eating.
I had anorexia and I was in and out of hospitals and mental hospitals and the loony bin and all that stuff. And how I healed is exactly what you're talking about. Like I had a conversation with my dad, I'll never forget it. And he looked at me and he was like, Ash, we can keep sending you to these team of doctors, which at that point I had to see 5 doctors a week, every week. And he's like, or you can finally realize that like you're the only person that has the power over your thoughts. Like no doctor can choose those thoughts for you. And if you just spent 30% of your time spending them towards something more positive, you could do anything. Like you could be a rocket scientist if you wanted to. And I immediately rolled my eyes because my dad worked at Cape Canaveral and was a rocket scientist at the time. And I was like, I don't want to be a freaking rocket scientist. Like I was so annoyed. But at the same time, it was like this light bulb moment because I knew he was right. And my mom is an artist and she's like she's an interior designer, but she's just an artist. And so she swoops in, she's like, so what I want you to do, Ash, is just like envision every time those intrusive negative thoughts come in, like visualize something positive, like visualize your happy place, visualize the beach. And they didn't know it at the time, I don't think, but they were teaching me neuroscience, they were teaching me quantum physics. And so that is how I healed by catching every thought, like reprogramming every thought by choosing the opposite over and over and over again until I eventually fully healed, which has been over, 20 years. But and every doctor told me I wouldn't fully heal. And then I was like, well, I'm an Italian woman with a lot of willpower, so don't do that because now I'm gonna fucking prove you wrong. And I did. Um, which I'm so grateful to say that I don't have a trace of it for 20 years, but it's like I I experienced the power of what happens when you change your inner narrative. And like I didn't think that was possible for 10 years, but it is. And if I can do that, I know anybody can do that because I was as far gone in the other direction as you could be, you know? And so whenever I see those water, those beautiful examples of it, I'm like, God, it is so true. And there's a million different iterations of that, of what inner narratives are doing to people, you know?
Oh, wow. I love that. Wow, your dad. What a legend. Rocket scientist. A rocket scientist healed you.
Yeah. Well, he's like a nuclear engineer, marine biologist, and then he wouldn't call himself a rocket scientist, but he oversaw the building of the launch pad of NASA. So he was the person telling the dudes, the whatever they're called, the engineers, what to do. So I categorize that as a rocket scientist, but he wouldn't say that.
That is awesome. Oh my God, I love your mum as well. I'm just
Mhm.
that I mean, that's amazing for them to teach you that. And if we can just, if each one of us could just share that with one person, that's just going to shift our whole reality, you know?
Yeah.
Spread a bit of kindness.
Quite a bit of kindness. We all just, everybody just needs so, we all just want and need so much love, like more than ever, as cliche as it may sound. Like that's really what it comes down to.
For sure, because I'm finding I've I've been a bit hard on myself as well because it's like, like you should be here by now, or you should be doing this by now, or you should have that done by now. And when you look back and see what you've actually done, I mean, just getting up out of bed is
Right.
amazing.
Amazing. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I hear you about being hard on yourself and I relate to that. Like there are things that I wish I would have already accomplished at this point, but then I'm like, but then I had that very same moment of realizing like, well, look at all you have done. And I feel like because our world is so future based and so goal oriented, and thankfully the new paradigm's not going to be that way, but like I don't think we take enough time to look back and recognize how far we've come. I think that's incredibly important to the human spirit, to just have a moment of, hey, you're doing all right. You know, like it's all not that serious. Like this whole thing is not nearly as freaking serious as we make it out to be. We're not getting tested at the end of each day and like graded about how we did, even though it can feel that way. It's like life really is meant to be enjoyed.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Actually, I was just talking about that the other day. I've had a life review before, where, like people that have near-death experiences have a life review. I didn't die. I just had one. I've had a couple, and it is the most magical, blissful, incredible thing that I've ever experienced. And it's just flashes of your life, and it's the most simple things like just standing by the beach or lying in a forest, or it's not the big things that you've done, it's the little tiniest things, like it's kind of like that mindfulness or mindlessness where you're just, you're looking at a leaf, that's and appreciating it. That's what this life review was. And I was like, wow, the universe doesn't actually expect much from us at all.
Wow.
We can just be. We don't have to do
Oh,
anything. Yeah.
isn't that it right there? It's about being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh, I love you so much. I'm so glad that you are here today. So yeah, I think yeah, I just love what we've talked about. I am so into that the human design and Psych K now. Wow. It's going to be hopefully I'll be getting more information as well, but I'm going to link yeah, your website so because yeah, it's a beautiful website as well. So I hope everyone checks that out and owning it, the manifestation journal.
Right.
And then you're on Instagram and are you on Facebook as well? And you're not
No.
Facebook. Oh no, good. That's okay. I'm on Instagram and I when I do Instagram, it just goes to Facebook. I never go on Facebook.
I think Mika does the same thing, but I never go on.
Oh,
And in truth, like I look forward to getting off social media. I'm not off it yet, but
okay. So
I,
just
I
website.
plan on
So website.
Go to the website, but also certainly go to Instagram because I am on there most days, but I plan on eventually getting off.
Yeah, I've been pretty slack on it, to be honest. I'm
Good for
on it,
you.
but I'm not on it.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely I'm on YouTube at the moment. But yeah, you were saying you were thinking about maybe starting doing a podcast or something. I was like, yeah, I think everyone needs to just follow that inspiration. What feels the most exciting to you at the moment, you know? What is it that brings you happiness, brings you joy, and that you just can't, like, you just have to do it? And just, obviously figure out, ask yourself, is this excitement or anxiety? Sometimes the anxiety can trick us as well.
What a good question to ask. Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I think I am. Yeah, I'm going to start a podcast. I'm excited about it
Okay.
because I could do this all day. I could talk to, I just
Yeah.
love talking to people.
Yeah.
I love hearing my life story. Like, I have so many questions for you. I want to hear so much more about you.
Well,
I love,
I'll come on your show.
yes, please,
Yeah.
please do.
For sure.
Yeah.
I love it. But that's the thing. I think if there's something that you want to do, it's exciting, it brings you joy, you just can't resist it. You're like, I've got to do this. I've got to do this in an exciting, joyful, happy way. Then go for it. Just don't be shy anymore. Don't be scared. Don't be fearful. Don't judge yourself. I mean, like I said, my podcast is called Crazy or Awakening. And I sound completely crazy half the time to, do you call them the mainstreamers? I don't know. See, that sounds like judgment. My loving,
No, but
my loving family that doesn't understand. But yeah, just be yourself. Who cares? Who
who
cares?
cares?
Yeah.
Wait, and so you say you sound crazy because of what? Because of the downloads you get and
Oh, it's
the
probably when I start channeling galactics.
yeah.
Cosmic energy. That's when it starts to get really weird, but
I had a psychic awakening while I was going through my divorce, and I definitely felt like I was going crazy. Like, because I was just getting images and messages, and then the things were happening, and it was like a movie
Mm.
of what my life was becoming, and I was seeing it all day, every day, feeling this person around me, and I was like, am I going nuts? Like, what's actually happening here, you know? Thankfully, I had a friend at the time who was very, very psychic who could like help me move through it and make sense of it. But it does feel kind of wild at first, but then it's becoming so normal that I hope you feel know how normal it is.
Oh, yes, thank you. See, there's people like you that, just putting yourselves out there makes people like me feel normal. So, yeah, it's an exciting time because I don't think, 10, 20 years ago, I had somebody tell me I could do this years and years ago. It was a medium. I was like, no, 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 I'm not going to be doing that stuff. And
Yeah.
I don't know if I was scared or embarrassed or just at a level of consciousness where I was like, I was just blocking myself. And then all of a sudden I see other people start to do it. I'm like, ooh, that looks like fun. So, when more and more people do it, the more we start to become our true selves and we have that intuition and wisdom and excitement. And yeah, it all unfolds in crazy
Yeah.
ways.
In amazing ways. Like, thank God you're doing it, you know, because you're helping so many people.
Yeah, well, the thing is, Earth, it's such a roller coaster ride. And if we can all kind of be, like we were saying, our true selves, it's going to be so much easier to flow on that roller coaster and just really like have fun on the roller coaster rather than freaking out and throwing up. It's like,
Yeah,
you
totally.
know,
100%. Yeah.
hold on for dear life. Would rather a fun roller coaster ride. So if we're our true selves, then we will be in the flow state more and more. And the flow state will become the default state rather than the fear-based narratives, the nervous system heightened, what we were kind of programmed to be. Now, yeah, now we're just, yeah, we're shifting the default system to something more aligned. aligned with the
Mhm.
higher, higher kind of frequencies. And yeah, hopefully more peace, more calm. If we find more peace and calm, then we'll start to see more peace and calm.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
true.
yeah,
Yeah. I'm
yeah.
looking forward to that.
Mm.
I have a friend who's like who I record my meditations with. His name's Craig, and um he's a music producer. And when we're in the studio, I feel that feeling like you talked about. Like I feel it also doing this and coaching, but it's like I get so excited that I could just like I could do it forever. Like I just get in the flow state. But he lives in that flow state all the time. And I told him next time, like when I'm going to do some Owning It live events and I want to do one in New York, and I'm like, I'm bringing you on stage and you're going to tell everybody how you live in alignment because it's just one magical thing after another happens in his life. And it's just because he quite literally, which I know that word is used way too much, but he really, truly, literally just follows his joy all day, every day. And watching his life unfold, I'm like, this is the greatest gift to be able to witness it. Truly. It's just such a joy to watch it. I'm like, wow, Craig, look at all this amazing stuff happening in your life. And he is just always smiling. He's always happy. He's always excited to be doing what he's doing. And I just tell him all the time, I we need so many more examples like you because I really believe that's how life is meant to be lived, you know?
Oh yeah, follow your joy. That is it. And I think the thing is, it feels too simple.
I know,
We
of course.
try
We
too hard.
complicate the shit out of things,
Yeah.
but it's just not
Yeah.
necessary.
Am I allowed to just follow my joy?
Yes,
You know,
you are.
and like, like I was trained, money doesn't bring you happiness. All of this stuff, it was about these things don't bring you happiness. And so then it was like, well, what brings me happiness? And it just can be so overcomplicated. So, but it's just following those little breadcrumbs of this brings me joy. Oh, this brings me joy. And I've heard it described of what brings you joy today, an apple or an orange.
Yeah, it's that simple.
Basic.
And also the whole thing with money, that's all changing too, which I'm sure you've probably seen. So it's like, good Lord, is that going to take the brakes off so much stuff? Do you know what I mean? It's like so many people don't do things because of their relationship with money. And when that all shifts, which I don't know I'm not clear on exactly what that's going to be, but it's just going to give so much more permission and freedom to all of us to stop holding back, and doing what you're talking about, like letting it be simple.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the kind of the new earth, what people might call the 5D kind of
Mhm.
transition of it's just going to be so much easier to follow our joy because we will have, we'll have what we need. And then we'll be able to focus on our passions, focus on our interests without worrying about paying the bills and without worrying about feeding your family. So, yeah, it's definitely we are leveling up, but when you level up in the game, there's a few like kind of, we're just kind of balancing it out a little bit first.
Yeah.
We yeah, we're just getting rid of that old crap because you can't, yeah, I've heard it described of we're going to the penthouse, but we keep going back down into the basement to grab all our old crap. So so what we need to do is kind of just clear the old crap and then just head to the penthouse and we're away and we can create what we truly, really want to create and what brings us joy. So, yeah.
Oh, so beautiful. And know that we're deserving and worthy of being in the penthouse. I think
Oh,
that's
yeah,
so much.
we are. We definitely are. The penthouse can bring us happiness. It just, oh my goodness me. I love it. Oh, well, thank you so much for joining me. Honestly, it has been such a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me. I could talk to you for hours. It's such a joy. So thank you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I feel like when we started to talk about money, I was seeing all these people with money blocks. I was thinking, oh, that would be another great video to talk about. Like, we could totally talk for hours, but thank you. So, yeah, I'll put your all your details will be below website. So check Ash out. Thank you so much, Ash, for joining me. Loving your vibe. Oh, it's awesome.
Thank you so much. And thank you guys for listening.
Bye.